This is your daily briefing and you are most welcome to it. The plan was to be in the garden, but it's hotter than the surface of the sun out there, and I don't fancy that a bit. Not really much news about on the Tottenham front today, although goal.com, and I think it's the German version, are running with Pochettino or Conte to Tottenham or Madrid. So, curiouser and curiouser. What I find strange with the whole Real Madrid thing is the suggestion that Poch in 6 months has proved that he's capable, with lavish sums of money, of winning a domestic trophy. Is that what Real Madrid were waiting for? Is that the tipping point for them, where he proves his worth? I wouldn't have thought so. And in fact, if you think about it, if you want to go down the route of the crazy, it's not even logic, or the upside down maths that's being run around at the moment. Tuchel leaves PSG, goes to Chelsea, and wins the Champions League at the first attempt. And surely there's more substance in this upside down land that PSG would now want him back, want to bring Tuchel back to France, isn't there? Opposed to bring Poch back with no money to a squad comprised largely of players that gave up the ghost on him not 18 months ago. Got a lost soul, and it happens on the internet because a number of people are sort of homeless, if that's the right word, who demanded to know that, as I thought that the Poch to return thing was cobblers, demanded to know why Poch hadn't just come out and said, well, I couldn't go back to Spurs this soon. It would be ridiculous. I have a commitment, and all that sort of thing. Well, the reality is that it's extremely rare for coaches to get involved in sort of this nonsense, because they do know that it's nonsense. They do know that people make things up. And to that extent, it's a bit like herding cats. Is that what you're going to start to get yourself involved in? Or are you just going to kind of say, well, it's cats. You're not really going to influence them, so why bother? The other thing as well, which you have to remember, and I think even though we're in the 21st century, some people are still struggling with this as if it's, the days of managers having careers that whereby they stayed at a club for a long period of time, say like Arsene Wenger, for example, and you'd have to go back some actually to come up with somebody that even matched his term at the empty crates. Those days are long gone. And the managerial gig is a real sort of smash and grab, and you know, 1 minute you're out of the office, the next minute you're out of office, and so any publicity is good. Any link with you and somebody else is good, and it might cause for a little degree of unpleasantness going to work the next day, and it's all over the press that you're being linked with a move to, Barely Athletic. And you say, look, I have no control over the press. But what those coaches are actually saying is, well, I'm in demand. I am the beat. And you might perhaps, kind of bear that in mind when we next sit down and review, like, how many more months or years you're going to give me and how much money you're going to give me. The fact that I don't need you, I don't need to be here. There are other places for me. And there are other people out there who'd be perfectly happy to acquire my services. So that's kind of it on the Tottenham front, unless I've horribly missed something. But I tell you what I have felt. And last night I was watching. I can't really bear to watch other teams in finals. I think that's the work of a younger fan, and particularly a younger Tottenham fan. But I was watching, I caught the celebrations of the Chelsea players, in particular the young man that gave Des Kelly an expletive to say, to deal with. And it just made me wonder, you know, and especially after having watched the highlights, certainly anyway, of the FA Cup this year. Tottenham are miles off. I'm just talking about the mentality, and I know we talk about winning mentality, but just in the sense of maturity and just that, it's difficult to put your finger on it, but just that being the real McCoy, and with the exception of Harry Kane and probably Sonny when he's on having a good day at the office, we just don't have those players. We've got so many bridesmaids, so many also-rans, and so many big I ams. And like I said yesterday, this isn't putting a spin on things. This is just looking at something and saying what you see, you know, like the old game show thing. But we don't have anybody in the England team apart from Harry Kane. And I mean, I'm almost looking forward to watching England, bizarrely, in these Euros, because there are some really, really first-rate, exciting players. And yeah, I think I've got the bug, to be honest with you. So, but I look at Tottenham and honestly, it's like somebody needs to take a cricket bat to it. Just casting out on money lenders, and they're really, I don't see in many of the players at all, with the exception of perhaps 2, maybe 3, say Højbjerg. But I look at them and I just think, I can't rely on you. You're utterly unreliable. And it probably is to do with the fact that I've been watching most of them now for 5, 6, 7 years. I think Winks and Dyer are perhaps the longest sort of full-time merchants that we've got on our books. But what team would they walk into? And the fact that they can't, and this is the Jamie Redknapp thing, oh yeah, that team's packed full of internationals. Well, Matt Doherty, really? You know, we've got guys who play for their national teams, but for an English side, and we are an English side, we've got one player that's in the England team, and an England team which is actually decent. And perhaps that's the point I was subconsciously making, because when our players that have previously featured for England were around, England were pretty rubbish. So if England are a weak proposition as a football side, yeah, there's loads of Tottenham players in there. Fantastic. Yeah, what were they calling it? The spine of the England squad is made of Tottenham. And the jig is up. The jig is up. Nobody wants these players. Not even Southgate. So, that's it. I'm a little bit kind of lackluster because there isn't much to tell you, and that's my spin on where we are today. Thanks again. The numbers keep going up, which is just amazing. I'm going to have to do one of those thank you videos. But hit subscribe, hit the bell. If you know anybody that thinks that this tedious git would be for them, pass, you know, the word of mouth is what kills things and makes them work. But thanks again for all the support and the comments. Fantastic. Really, really good. Take care. Keep it on.